A tiny mummy was pushing open its coffin lid after being sealed for hundreds of years. It could barely walk. Its soft body fell over easily. The boy used a hanger to push it back into the coffin and planned to send it away. But then, liquid started leaking out. When he checked, it was the mummy's tears. That day, Kashiwagi received a package sent by his father in Egypt. When he opened it, it was a large coffin. His father insisted it was a cute mummy, but Kashiwagi was nervous because his father was never reliable. Before, he sent a toy, but it was a cursed doll. He also sent a lucky scarecrow, but it almost attacked him. Then the coffin started moving. Kashiwagi got ready. But inside, it really was a small mummy. Still, he did not trust it, so he used a hanger to push it back inside and planned to send it back. Then he saw liquid under the coffin. It was the mummy crying. Kashiwagi cleaned the floor. The mummy tried to help, but Kashiwagi stopped it with a book. He was not sure if it was safe. Even though it looked harmless, he still wanted to send it away. When the mummy heard this, it got anxious. It ran over, hugged his leg, and begged him. Then it started acting, showing it could cook and do housework. It just wanted to stay, but Kashiwagi doubted it. It was too small to do anything. The mummy felt hurt. It tried to explain, but could not speak, and started crying again. Seeing this, Kashiwagi gave it a chance.
やっぱりだよね。今飲んだやつ全部ペアしなさい。ペア。
After many setbacks, the mummy held onto his clothes and would not let go. Kashiwagi felt soft inside, but he knew nothing about mummies, so he checked his father's letter. The letter only said, never remove its bandages. Nothing else, even books, had no information on how to care for a mummy. Seeing Kashiwagi sigh, the mummy thought it would be sent away again and started crying. But in his heart, Kashiwagi had decided to keep it and was thinking of a name. At that moment, a loud noise came. His dog walked out. Its name was Pochi. Kashiwagi went to calm it, leaving the mummy behind. Seeing the dog being held and acting cute, the mummy felt jealous. It even barked to get attention.
今泣いた？
Feeling ignored, it jumped onto his back and stayed there. Then it realized the dog was held in his arms, but it had to cling on. The difference was clear, so it barked again.
また泣いた。え？小原、静かに。
To comfort it, Kashiwagi quickly gave it a name. When it heard the name Me, the mummy understood it would not be sent away and happily hugged his neck.
そんなにこの名前が気に入ったのか？
The mother cat never expected that beneath her nest lay a dragon egg. As time passed, Jack successfully broke through the soil. The mother cat sniffed, confirming no dangerous scent. So she told the other children, you have another little brother. The three kittens immediately played with Jack. Jack also considered himself a cat, and began to follow the mother cat to learn survival skills. First was hunting, cats must learn to catch mice. Second was magic, their species were cat fairies. Not only highly intelligent, but also skilled in various magic. Jack's brothers learned lightning magic, but Jack was somewhat different. Raising his tail produced no reaction, but when he tried harder, he learned to fly and breathe fire. At that moment, a sound came. The mother cat told the children not to move, and explained it was a creature called humans. They named this place Novice Village. Sometimes they came to catch mice. Humans were very dangerous, but some were kind. Yet most who entered the forest came for cat fairies. After all, cat fairies were highly valuable prey. The kittens decided to remember the scent of humans. Next time they met one, they would hide immediately. The mother cat was relieved. It seemed soon these children could venture on their own. That day quickly arrived. A magic circle suddenly appeared. The mother cat knew it was human summoning magic, so she told the children, even if separated, live well. Soon after, Jack's brothers chose to leave and explore, but Jack stayed in the cave, living by hunting. Those days were very lonely, until one brother returned with a girlfriend. Soon the cave had a new litter of kittens. Jack was very happy, teaching the younger ones hunting skills. After some time, Jack also grew up. He not only possessed immense mana, but also learned to converse with nature's spirits. From the spirits, he finally learned he was not a cat, but another kind of beast. Yet the kittens didn't care, still close to Jack. Jack thought life would remain peaceful, but humans suddenly began mass hunting of cat fairies. Seeing this, Jack lost his mind. He killed all the adventurers hunting cat fairies. He couldn't understand why humans killed cats. Was it to eat them? The spirits explained it was not for food. Cat fairy fur was valuable. That was why humans attacked. Jack grew even angrier. If it was for food, he could accept it. After all, he killed other creatures to survive. But for fur, he would never forgive humans. So Jack stormed the royal palace alone. He told the humans, I am the dragon guarding the cats. Those adventurers who hunted cats were burned to death. If anyone hunted cats again, he would destroy the entire town. The soldiers were terrified. They unleashed magic circles to bombard Jack, but they could not harm him. Instead, they enraged him further. Just as he prepared to burn the town, he smelled a familiar scent. Among the crowd was a little girl whose aura resembled the mother cat. Jack remembered what the mother cat once said: "There are kind humans too," so he did not slaughter them all. Before leaving, Jack warned the humans, "Do not massacre the forest cats. When you think of hunting cats, remember who your opponent will be." Then Jack returned to the forest. Years passed. The prince of the kingdom reached the age to study magic, but his talent was poor, he could not learn. Jack's younger kin couldn't bear it, and began teaching the prince magic. The two became friends, but the king was very worried. He asked the prince if the cats were being forced to stay. After all, in that incident years ago, the dragon had power enough to destroy the nation, yet gave them a chance to change. Now they were cautious about cats. The prince said he and the cat were friends, but as he spoke, the alarm outside rang. Jack flew from the forest. The people recoiled in fear. Then a cat stepped forward. Jack asked what he was doing there. The cat said he was teaching a human child magic. That child had worked hard, but could not learn, because human magic was different from Jack's teaching, unstable. Jack wanted to refuse, humans were too dangerous. Then the prince suddenly ran out. Seeing him, Jack remembered the little girl from years ago. The cat continued, "Didn't you tell us to cherish friends? If I teach him magic, when he becomes a great king, he may thank us and protect the cats more." Hearing this, Jack agreed. Then Jack used magic to transform into a winged cat, so he could freely enter the palace. Learning that cats were willing to teach the prince magic, the king thanked Jack deeply, and honored him as Dragon King, but Jack said he was raised by cats. Better to call him Cat Dragon. The girl never expected that all she did was cut her hair short, and she ended up running into the second prince, who would become her future fiancé. Anna was just an ordinary village pharmacist, but she had unusual red hair. However, she never felt inferior because of it. Instead, she devoted herself to studying alchemy, until one day the crown prince once again asked the magic mirror, "Who is the most beautiful girl in the world?" The information broker inside the mirror told him that there was a rare beauty living among the commoners, with hair as red as an apple. George immediately ordered his men to find the girl, and declared that he would marry her and bring her into the palace. But Anna had no desire to marry into a family of nobles she didn't know, yet she had no power to refuse, so she chose to cut off her hair and flee the marriage. Before leaving, she still made sure to prepare all the medicine her patients would need. Then she left the city by carriage that night. Without any destination in mind, she simply kept walking forward. Fortunately, by the following evening she spotted a mansion, but the owner wasn't home, so she sat down at the entrance and waited. But the owner never returned all night. When she woke up, it was already the next morning. She had just let out a yawn when she heard voices nearby. The next second, a man jumped down from the wall. The moment their eyes met, they both got startled, causing Jack to fall straight down. He immediately demanded to know who Anna was. The moment he saw Anna's hair, Jack was visibly surprised. Anna then explained that she was only passing by when she noticed the injury on Jack's arm. She wanted to find some medicine and treat him, but Jack wasn't appreciative, because he didn't trust a stranger of unknown origin. Left with no choice, Anna pushed the sword pointed at her toward her own arm, which shocked Jack. Then Anna took out some ointment and applied it to her own wound, to ease Jack's concerns. Seeing this, Jack smiled. Not only did he apologize to Anna, he also invited her into the house. After treating his injury, Jack took Anna to see the nearby gardens, and Jack's friend also seemed to notice that Jack treated Anna a little differently. When they returned, they found a basket tied with a ribbon at the front door. Anna recognized at a glance that it belonged to her. Inside the basket were red apples, but Jack wasn't surprised, because the kingdom often sent gifts, for he was the kingdom's second prince. From the letter inside the basket, Jack learned that Anna was planning to flee across the border. He felt Anna wouldn't go that far, but Anna stared at the rotten red apple in her hand.
痛み始めてる。この赤、もうダメかな。
The next second, Jack took a bite of the apple in Anna's hand. At that moment, his friend was still teasing him, but then Jack suddenly collapsed to the ground. After smelling the apple, Anna realized it was poisoned, but the medicine in her bag wasn't enough to make an antidote. Just then, someone burst into the house.
おや、リンゴを口にされたのは白雪殿ではなかったか。
The man never expected that. Right after being reincarnated, just as he was about to check his gender, the maid beside him would mistakenly think he had wet the bed. Before he could even react, his pants were pulled down by her. To ease the embarrassment, he could only distract himself by eating. But to his surprise, after he finished eating, the maid pulled him into her arms, and this caused Jack to react uncontrollably. Jack was actually born into a noble family, and his father had married 2 wives. The first wife gave birth to 2 sons, while the second wife gave birth to Jack and his older sister. However, compared to all of that, what fascinated Jack the most was this world of swords and magic. In order to use magic as soon as possible, Jack learned how to read in just 2 days. Even his parents thought he was a genius, but when it came to studying magic, his parents felt it was still too early. At the very least, he should wait until he turned 5 and received a baptism at the church. Although Jack agreed outwardly, deep down he was extremely impatient. After returning to his room, he simply tried it out casually and actually managed to use fire magic. Fortunately, Jack stopped the spell in time, so the maid didn't notice anything. After the maid left, Jack tried again, but this time he nearly set the house on fire. After 2 weeks of study, Jack quickly came to understand the history of the kingdom, especially after learning learning that other races existed, his excitement refused to calm down. 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. Soon, Jack reached the age when he needed to receive baptism. This was also the first time he traveled far from home and saw the outside world. To help Jack understand what it felt like to be granted magic, his sister deliberately opened her status panel as a reference. After that, they arrived at the church. The 7 statues inside the church represented the 7 pillar gods who truly existed. As long as one prayed to them, they would randomly receive divine blessings. However, just as the priest finished reciting the ritual, all 7 statues suddenly burst into dazzling light. When Jack came back to his senses, he found himself in the world where the 7 gods resided. The god who governed light told Jack that his death in his previous life did not entirely match what was written in the script. Although Jack had been killed by a criminal while trying to save someone, even if he hadn't intervened, the criminal would have tripped on his own and been subdued by nearby civilians. In other words, Jack had died for nothing, and even indirectly worsened the criminal's sentence. Seeing Jack cry even harder, the god of life hurried over to comfort him. After all, Jack had still performed a good deed. That was why the gods of Earth asked them to let Jack reincarnate into this world. Though there was some regret, Jack was still grateful that the gods preserved his memories of his past life. All 7 pillar gods admired Jack's spirit, so each of them granted him a different blessing. Some of these blessings were special and could only be understood after returning and testing them repeatedly. With time running short, the gods sent Jack back. Seeing the statues emit such brilliant light, his father eagerly wanted to check Jack's status panel, but recalling the gods' mischievous smiles, Jack couldn't shake a bad feeling, so he made an excuse and ran off to a corner. When he opened his panel, he was utterly shocked. All 7 of his blessings were max level. Fortunately, the gods had also granted him the ability to conceal his status panel. Only after the values appeared ordinary did Jack finally feel relieved. However, what Jack didn't realize was that he had still missed some numbers. When his father saw the 7 blessings and the absurd mana value of over 300,000, he was completely dumbfounded. After all, even royal court mages only had around 10,000 mana, and Jack was only 5 years old. Although his potential was limitless, if word ever got out, the nation would surely see Jack as a threat. After his father ordered everyone to keep this matter secret, Jack safely returned home. At that moment, the summoning spellbook on his bed caught his attention. After everything he had experienced, all he wanted now was to be healed by cute animals, so he eagerly went outside and activated the summoning spell. But to his shock, what he summoned was actually a minotaur. Unfortunately, his sister and a cat girl happened to walk over at that moment. Without a word, Jack stepped in front of them to prevent the tragedy of his past life from repeating itself. Now that he had learned magic, he could only give it his all. However, due to his lack of combat experience, Jack's first attack failed. Fortunately, he possessed absurd amounts of mana. The very next second, a massive magic circle appeared, instantly killing the minotaur. Jack collapsed from exhaustion due to excessive mana consumption. At Jack's birthday ceremony the next day, his father asked him what his dream was. Jack said he wanted to become an adventurer, travel to many different places, and meet all kinds of people. To help him achieve that dream, his father hired 2 adventurers to serve as private tutors. Lucy was responsible for teaching swordsmanship, while Jenny taught magic. They then went to the training grounds to begin their lessons. They started with swordsmanship. Lucy originally planned to have Jack swing his sword casually to check his talent, but Jack's swordsmanship immediately left her stunned. Jenny, watching from the side, even felt that Jack was stronger than Lucy. Naturally, Lucy refused to accept that and decided to spar with Jack directly. But the moment they clashed, Lucy was even more shocked. Jack's strength was clearly far beyond what a 5-year-old should have. At that moment, Jenny speculated that Jack had already obtained the blessing of the god of war. After hearing Jack confirm it, Lucy completely broke down, so they switched turns, and Jenny began teaching Jack magic instead. Jenny naturally didn't refuse, but just as she was about to start from the basics, Jack said he had already learned all of that from books. As he spoke, he demonstrated it on the spot. Not only could he use magic of various elements, he could even cast spells without chanting. Jenny was utterly stunned. After discussing it together, they realized there was basically nothing left they could teach Jack. Seeing the teachers sweating from shock, Jack quickly handed them a towel. That only shocked them even more, because they hadn't expected Jack to possess an item box. After all, those who had this ability were extremely rare worldwide. At this point, the teachers were tired of saying the word genius. To prevent Jack from destroying the house, they decided to change locations, so they requested permission from the Lord to let Jack train outside. After receiving approval, they went to an open grassland. Jenny asked Jack to try using an ultimate spell. Unexpectedly, Jack casually released 2 walls of fire, and the massive boulder ahead instantly shattered. The ground was even blasted into a huge meteor crater. Jenny was stunned by this. Clearly, this was far beyond the scope of ultimate magic, but compared to all that, what Lucy cared about more was that after casting such a spell, Jack didn't feel tired at all. This meant that Jack possessed truly terrifying amounts of mana. While they were talking, a sound suddenly came from the distance. Next, a killer rabbit charged toward them, although Lucy had already taken a combat stance. Unfortunately, the monster dodged her attack and lunged toward Jack instead, but Jack didn't panic at all. With a single move, he killed the monster on the spot. Watching Jack store it inside his item box, the 2 women couldn't help but feel envious.